Hi there, gods and goddesses of your reality. I'm Jenny and welcome back to Nutritious Lives and the Wellbeing Guinea Pig. So I'm going to try and keep this video quite quick as I possibly can, because you know I keep saying it, but I do like to chat and these aren't particularly scripted. However, I have put some notes in front of me here so I can just refer to. This video is going to be slightly similar to the video I did before, but not the same, because I want to give more tips and tricks on how to deal with these situations when they come up. And what I mean by that is, so when the 3D, when I say the 3D, I mean the 3D reality that we live in, right? So I'm not going to go into it, but we've got the 3D, 4D and 5D. But we live, our physical existence is in the 3D.
Oh, they're beautiful souls. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm going to split this video up into part 1 and part 2. So this is about the ego and the 3D, and to a certain degree detachment from the 3D and the ego. So I hope you enjoy part 1 and I will see you in part 2.
So when you start affirming and when you start reprogramming your brain and you are reprogramming in a certain area, so say for example, you want to reprogram your self-concept in love, for example. Like I said to you in that long ass video that I did where I went to North Cyprus, and there was all this because I was affirming for peace and tranquility, and then in the 3D itself there was a big shake up where it gave me the opposite. Other than that, that can be applied to any area with the manifestation, and how it sometimes needs, not always, but sometimes needs to go through a bit of a shake up. And this is again, because remember, I want you to understand that I'm still relatively looked at as the infancy of my manifestation journey. Even though I get it and I'm applying the principles now, there are a lot of coaches, and I will give them credit, who've been doing this for like 20 years. Obviously I'm not one of those. So I'm giving you this reprogramming and the faults or the issues that I go through firsthand, right? So I'm living it at the moment, but I wanted to give you some tips and tricks to help you when you're going on your manifestation journey, to actually refer back to be able to bring you back into the state of the wish fulfilled. Now, I am going to do a separate video about states, because a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, they require a sort of a video on their own, because there's a lot of detail that can go into it. But I'm not going to go massively into states, but there are multiple states, and the state that we want to be in when we're manifesting our desires is the woman or man that has their desires, right, their wish fulfilled, living in the end, so to speak, that feeling of it's mine. It may not be here right now, but I know what it feels like. I've actually feel like I have it without even having it, right? And I know that sounds quite bizarre, but again, as I say, I will do a separate video about states. But ideally, when it comes to states, we want to try to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled, the end goal. But that can't be the case all the time. There's so many things that go on in our environment that take us out that state. So I want you to not feel pressured to be in that state all the time, and this is what I wanted to talk to you about. So it's a human thing to go through and fluctuate through these states. We're aiming to be at a certain state, but as I say, like female hormones, anything that's going on in our environment, that it makes a difference. So when I fall out of the wish fulfilled state, there's certain things that I do to rebalance myself again, and I'm just going to go through a few of them. And what I tend to, and I've talked about this previously as well, what I tend to do is when I go into a state where I've fallen out the wish fulfilled state and I go into another state of feeling negative feelings, negative thoughts, what I want you to understand is when you're in a great state, it's so easy for you to flip your thoughts back to, oh, that's not going to happen, oh, don't be silly, because our brain throws these things our way, right? We're not in control of what the brain sometimes pulls up. It's just an automatic human egotistical thing to do, right? It's all attached to our ego, trying to keep us safe, which I've spoke about. But however, when you're in a great state, you can flip those thoughts and you can easily sort of say, don't be silly, that's not going to happen, or I can look at this a different way. But however, when we fall into a state, and I'm going to give you examples. Say, for example, you have a great weekend, and then Monday you get up and you can't use your car. There's something gone on with your car, and then you have to get the bus, and then the bus crashes, or something like that, and then you're in the 3D. There's this negativity, I'm going to be late for work, how am I going to get back home for the kids, and so it starts perpetuating in itself. The thoughts start looping into negativity. How can I do this? I'm thrown off there, and if we don't pull our energy back to start bypassing that negativity, that is when it spirals, and it can spiral out of control, right? So what I'm trying to highlight to you is once that starts happening, be it that it may be the bridge of events that's made that happen, which I've spoke about previously, but that's irrelevant when you're in those moments. What you want to do is bring yourself back to a better state, and it's done that through counselling yourself. And what I've found is, and I've spoken about this previously, that I go into chasing mode when I'm in that my negative thoughts come in. I start going into chasing. So it's like solution based, which isn't a problem. It's not a problem if it's something that can be in that moment with that specific thing. So, for example, your car. So if you're finding solutions, the ego gets involved and you find solutions for your car, you found a garage, you're quick off the mark to do that. But however, that's not always the way the brain operates. It starts then chasing other things because you're chasing the change of feeling, because we are hardwired to want to move away from uncomfortable feelings and always move into good feelings, if that makes sense. So you're hardwired when you're having these negative feelings to want to always escape from that negativity, and that's where the problem arises, because then we can perpetuate that feeling by doing things that become quite negative to us. So we're trying to escape the feeling. Then, for example, off the top of my head, what I've done in the past as a kind of coping mechanism more to escape the feeling, started drinking alcohol, for example, or try to get out that moment, and finding yourself having a go at someone, or you know, it's those type of things that the ego gets involved, and it feels like you're doing it for the right reasons, but as it turns out, it's perpetuating that feeling, if that makes sense. So I try to get myself away from chasing mode. I think of what I can do within those moments, and then I pull back my energy. This is the new me. This is how I do it now when I'm in that state.